situation that we're facing in our county right now is our economy, and that our job pool is lower than many other places in the state. We had a logging community followed by a construction and housing boom, and really there has not been an industry that has come up to provide jobs for our community. So the finance base is not there to support services. With Dan's history as both a business owner and a city councilor, he has a tendency to bring everything to the table and look at the whole picture and decide where's the priorities, what do we need to look at, what maybe can be cut to save money, and also is there a way of looking outside of the box to see if there's resources that we can deal with.
I think the county needs a fresh look, a fresh start. We have had problems with the last few commissioners getting along well together. With Dan, he gets along really well with everybody, but he's an independent thinker. And being independently thinking these days is no small asset. I feel that it's very important for our leadership to ask the right questions, challenge the authorities, work well with others, and move forward.
I think we need leadership. Not that we haven't had leadership in the past, but somebody that's not afraid to look at new options, consider all the options. There's going to be lots of controversy because there's just so many different ideas how we're going to get the county back on a stable footing financially. And I think Dan's willing to look at all those options. So we need somebody that can sift through all the information, boil it down into something that makes sense, and then be able to present it to not only his fellow commissioners, but to the citizens of Josephine County in a way that we can move forward.
We need great leadership right now to resolve these difficult issues we're facing, especially economically, and being a successful businessman, I know that he is capable of doing that, and he truly wants to make our community better than it's ever been, and I can definitely put my trust in Dan.
The thing that Dan can bring to the county is that he can bring a whole fresh perspective. He can see the whole picture, especially the financial challenge that's before the county. And he has a way, if there's a solution out there, to present it where people can understand the solution and in many cases find it palatable.
Individual representation on that rather than just being a part of yours and a part of yours and a part of yours. So maybe it's time we look at having an alternative transportation path where you share.
I've known Dan DeYoung for over 50 years, and I'm more than happy to support him for County Commissioner. Dan has graduated from the School of Hard Knocks, and he applies a lot of his skills and talents, and he's a real clear thinker. Dan is an individual that speaks his own mind. Dan doesn't have to go with the crowd, and he's actually a person that can look through the mess and figure things out on his own. A lot of times Dan will ask a question to an expert in the room, and the expert sometimes has to scratch his head. So that type of person is the person that I feel that we need in politics right now, is somebody that can ask the right questions, get along well with others, and not have to follow the crowd. Dan has a magnetic personality. Even if you don't agree with Dan, you can be his friend. I support him wholeheartedly for his adventure into politics, which is new for Dan. And congratulations, Dan. You've got a lot of support behind you.
Dan's a common man. He has a deep love for this community. He has a deep love for this country.
One thing that I know that Dan is very proud of his service to our country, both in the military and as a local business owner, and just what he's given to Grants Pass. He has pride in that we have our own autonomy, and I know that it'd be important to him that we keep our own autonomy here in this county, not be taken over by another county or by the state. And so he would be able to look at all of the situations available and try to come up with a solution that will help us meet that financial stability that we need in this county.
He has been a longtime resident like I have. He has enjoyed this whole county, and he understands what the history of our community is all about, city and county, and he knows what it took to make this county one of the most wonderful counties in the state of Oregon, and I trust him to lead us in these difficult times that we have.
The qualities that Dan has include listening, observing. He also has a good thought process on evaluating different situations.
He's unafraid. And what I mean by that is you can put him into a situation and it doesn't matter who's sitting across the table, whether it's somebody that's got power or money or fame, and Dan can be just who he is, and he's not afraid to stand shoulder to shoulder with these people, to have a common talk with them. He's not in awe, but he's respectful.
There was one situation that Dan exhibited his leadership in that he was able to get the people that go to the Saturday market come down and sit down with the city manager and discuss some of the problems that were going there concerning the sidewalk, and get both parties leave the room happy with a resolution to that matter.
I first met Dan DeYoung as we were running for city council. I did not know him prior to that, but I began to hear of his reputation in town from others who knew him. And in the last 2 years, it has been a privilege to work alongside of him, and I'm proud to call him a friend at this point. I trust Dan. I know that he works hard and he cares sincerely about the people in our community and for fighting for what's right. And not just a status quo, doing something because it's always been done, but understanding why it's been done and is it needed to still be done. Dan has a love for Grants Pass and Josephine County and wants to see the best for our future.
I enjoy working with Dan. He's a great guy. Hate to lose him if he moves over to the county, but the county will have a great asset.
If I had to sum up Dan in one word, it would be he's a public servant.
I don't know how to describe Dan. He's ornery. That's hard to pick a word.
He's honest.
Thoughtful.
Sincere.
A clear thinker. After everything's said and done, if you don't agree with Dan, you can still be friends with Dan. And I think that really says a lot about him, and it will say a lot about our county into being able to move things along.